Welcome and thanks for joining me right here on the channel. The solution is you. Wherever you may be, I hope that you are making the best of your day. I do appreciate you just for stopping by. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. With that, let me go ahead and start today's content. Now, the topic of today: 5 unexpected situations that can cost you. Now, let me go ahead and get into an icebreaker. So, stress at work. So, many of us experience job overload. So, this is a scenario where maybe you have a workload that carries you throughout your entire shift, and there may have been one of your coworkers that has quit the job or may have gotten fired, and now their load of work has been shifted over to you. So not only do you have your work, you also have the work of your colleague, and maybe your colleague knew that they were on their way out the door and did not handle business like they were supposed to. So now you have this huge backlog of work, and it's causing so much stress. How many of you have been in this situation or currently in a situation where you have a backlog at work and your manager is expecting you to get this work done like at the end of the week, and this is like a month or so worth of work? And some of you may be so locked in to your job where you bring the job home with you. And this could be a job where you're dealing with clients, you're answering phones, and you're providing excellent hospitality. So when you're at home and perhaps it's a Saturday afternoon or something, and your homeboy is calling you, so he gives you a ring and you answer the phone. "Hello, this is Kevin. How may I help you?" And he's saying, "Hey man, all I wanted you to do is just come over for a beer in the backyard." So how many of you have been in this situation where you bring the job home with you? You know, it's just a normal phone call and you're in job mode. So job overload can do this to you. And lastly, I know a lot of you are in job paranoia. So this could be one of those jobs that where you have a line of customers every day and the line never goes away. Or this could be a job where there's a lot of manual labor involved. So you have someone micromanaging you, making sure that you keep the flow going or keep the line going. And so when you get home, maybe you're off on the weekends or something, and it's a Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, say it's around maybe 5 a.m., and you wake up in paranoia that you have to go to the job. How many of you have been in this situation where you wake up almost in a cold sweat or something, thinking that you're late to get to work or something, and then you realize that you're off on the weekends, so you lay back down in a sigh of relief? You know, some of these jobs are no joke. They overload you, and the expectations are out of this world, and then sometimes you can find yourself almost like you're at war or something because of everything that you have to go through at a job. Now, let me go ahead and get into 5 unexpected situations that can cost you. So, in life, it's important to think outside the box. It's so easy to get into a routine. Every day you may do the same thing. So you park your car in the same spot and you expect your car to be there when you come back out. You may be on your cell phone while you're at your door trying to open the door. and not realizing whether or not somebody's following you, or maybe if your door is already unlocked. There's a lot of things that we do in routine and we never second guess it, or we may be used to doing something so much or so often that you never think about a different way that it could be done. And there's also plenty of times where we expect things to go a certain way just because nothing otherwise has happened. So if you are taking risks or something and you never have anything to go wrong, then you always expect that nothing could go wrong. And so, therefore, there's no reason to think otherwise. I mean, a lot of us get into situations based on nothing ever going wrong, especially if you have adult children or something and you're trying to steer them the right way and they're telling you, well, I've always done this and nothing has happened, so they continue to do it. I know a lot of us are familiar with this. We've done it ourselves. You're going down a certain path and you haven't experienced any bruises or bumps, so you continue to go down that path until one day something happens and it makes you second guess or makes you think outside of the box. So that's why I want to go over 5 unexpected situations that can cost you. Now, let me start with number 5. So speaking of jobs, vacation without vindication. So, most modern jobs today, when it comes to taking your vacation, normally you can just go on to some online platform or intranet site and you can submit the time or the PTO that you need and have it approved by your manager or HR, and you can get that time off. It's that easy. It's a lot different from back in the day. But there are some jobs still out there that like to keep things simple when it comes to requesting vacation. So they may not require you to go through an intranet site. There just may be a paper form that indicates the time period for which you're going to be taking vacation, and your manager has to sign off on it, and you have to give your approval with your signature. You may be one who has been on this particular job for over 10 years, and you are known for being reliable and putting in work, taking on extra hours, and you're so reliable that people always come to you when they have questions and they need advice. Now, I know there are some of you who are the model employee, and regardless of how much work you do or how many hours you put in, you still feel as if your manager has a grudge with you. Maybe you are getting too much praise, or maybe everyone is going to you for advice. So it could be that your manager is jealous because of you getting all the attention, or it looks like you may be on your way to getting some sort of promotion that could outshine them. So when it comes to your vacation and requesting your time off, usually you would submit a form, but you guys are so busy. This is the busy time of year, and you're going to be taking a 2-week vacation. So at this point, your manager just says, you know what, never mind the form. Just go ahead and take time off. I got you covered. And so, like I said, you've been with the company for over 10 years. So your manager is good for it because you've been putting in the work that you need. Everybody has been pleased, and there has been no issues with any of your time so far. So your manager says he'll take care of the time. Just go ahead and take your time off, the 2 weeks, and he'll see you when you get back. So there was nothing to sign. So now you have started your vacation for 2 weeks. Now, the first week was a blast. You were doing all sorts of things. You done left town and you are going restaurant to restaurant and you are visiting different sites and spending all sorts of money. And the first week was a blast. You start your second week, and your second week you're at home chilling, just basically trying to recover from the first week. But you still decide to get out and go about your day, and you're spending money and all sorts of things, having all sorts of fun. And out of nowhere, you get a phone call from the job. So the job has called you and they're asking, where have you been for the last week and a half? Now, this is not your manager that's called you. It's the actual human resources department. So you're scratching your head and you're telling them, well, I've been on vacation. My vacation is for 2 weeks. And why are y'all just now calling me? And so the HR department has said, well, we have no record of you being approved for vacation. And so you are telling them about your manager approving you to go on vacation for 2 weeks. And again, they reemphasize that they have no record of you being approved to go on vacation. So now they have told you to go ahead and come back in to the job because they want to go ahead and review things with you. So you agree and you tell them that you're going to come up there as soon as possible. So now you're thinking to yourself, how could this happen? Because, you've been doing your thing and everything, and your manager said that he has you covered or whatever. And how come he didn't call? So now you head back into the job immediately because you want to get things sorted out. So you go up to the job and you meet with HR. HR representative is in the room and your manager is sitting in a chair just opposite the HR representative. And your manager is not saying much. So now you're going to get this taken care of because you know that this is an easy fix, an easy open and close case. So you're sitting in the chair and you're meeting with HR and they asking you how things went down. And the manager said that he had you covered. So this is what you told him. And your manager said, well, hey, I didn't tell you anything. So now you're like, what? We talked about this. We had a conversation and this is what we agreed upon. And you said that you would take care of everything. And now the HR representative has asked you, what has been the procedure for you when you've taken PTO in the past? And so you guys have went over that you've submitted a form with your signature and your manager had to sign off on it. And so the HR representative asked you, is that what you did this time? And so now your manager is looking at you to see what you're going to respond. And you say, well, no, because he said that he would approve. And the manager said, I said nothing of the sort. And so now HR has said, well, I understand what you're saying, but you did not follow procedure. And that's what we go by around here. We go by evidence. And right now, you haven't provided the evidence that we need. And so as of right now, you've taken unauthorized vacation of 2 weeks. And I'm sorry, but we're going to have to let you go. I hate to do this, but we're just going to have to let you go. So you have a lot of jobs out there that don't quite manage things like they should. You have some that don't even know when their employees are out of the office. Sometimes the employee can be out of the office for multiple days, even a couple of weeks or so, and the employer has no idea that this person is gone. You have some that just don't follow the rules, and sometimes they feel as if they can do what they want when they want. I mean, there are some jobs, unfortunately, that are like this. And if you are putting your future in a person or a company's hands that are operating like this, then you are setting yourself up for failure. And I know there have been a lot of people who have fell for the bait. Maybe there is some manager with a grudge that wants to get rid of you, even if you are doing great work. Maybe they're just jealous of you for whatever reason, and they can set you up for failure. So you definitely want to think outside of the box and know when someone is possibly setting you up at the workplace. Now, number 4, backseat bailing. So there are a lot of us who like to drive around town with friends in the car. So, I mean, you have a car full of your friends. This could be your homeboys or it could be your homegirls, people you like to chill with. And your car is full and you're just riding around, joyriding, or you could be hitting up different club spots, or you could be just going out and just hanging out somewhere on the block. But the thing about this is you never know when someone is trying to set you up. Perhaps this could be, if you're a guy, this could be a woman that is mad at you because you cheated on her. Or this could be a situation where you have a nice ride. Maybe the rims are nice and maybe this car is very expensive, or this is a ride that was used to get all the honeys and is one of your boys that is jealous. So he's probably not one of your closest boys. This is probably a guy who grew up with you or something, or this could be maybe just somebody you're hanging with just temporarily that is jealous of you, or maybe you stole this girl or something, and this is a person who sets you up. So you have this person riding in your back seat, and before you knew it, you at some point later down the road, you were driving this same car, got pulled over for a minor traffic violation. And when you pulled over for the officer walks up to your car. And let's say this is in the evening time where it's just turned nighttime, and you let down your window and the officer is telling you that he stopped you because you were going 10 miles over the speed limit, and he needs your driver's license and insurance. So while you're getting ready to pull that out, he's shining the flashlight in your back window, and out of nowhere he asks, "What's that baggie on the floorboard in the back?" And so you ask him, "What baggie?" So then you turn around and look, and there's a small bag of some white substance. So now the officer tells you to keep your hands on the steering wheel. And so he opens the door to the back seat and he grabs this baggie, which is pretty large. It's about the size of a golf ball. And he takes a look at the substance and determines that this is a controlled substance that warrants a felony arrest. So now you found yourself in handcuffs with backup on the way. And you know this was all because you done let multiple people ride along with you, and they have dropped something or intentionally placed something in your car that could get you caught up. But because you are never checking behind folks and you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, you cannot prove that this substance is not yours. So now you have to take the fall and go through the legal ramifications in order to clear your name. Now, how many of you have let multiple people ride in your car and never check behind them? Anything could be squeezed between your seats. It could be placed underneath your floor mat. Maybe you have left your car and you left someone in the front seat and they have stashed something in your glove box, or maybe just underneath the front seat. And maybe there's some dog or canine unit that has stopped you, and maybe the dog picks up on a scent or something that gives them maybe probable cause to search your vehicle, and now you jammed up. So you always want to make sure that you're looking behind folks, no matter who it is, family, friends. You never know what your family may be into, what they could be using while you're not around. and they're afraid that they're going to get caught with something, so now they're going to stash it in your vehicle. You always got to think outside the box when it comes to things like this, and be very careful about those who are around you and your personal space. Now, number 3, recording for resentment. So you also have to be aware when you are visiting friends or anyone for that matter, the things that you are saying when they are not around. So if you go over someone's house, their place of residence, and let's say you all are in the front room, and maybe it's you and a friend, you're visiting this particular person, and you are all in the front room, and then this person that you're visiting leaves that room and goes somewhere else, where perhaps they may have some children or something that they keep a tab on by having a video recording live stream or something. So maybe they're in the back room and they can look at this live stream video of what's going on in the front room, and they have video and audio recording of everything. So once you and your friend come over and y'all left in the living area, this person can listen to everything that you're saying. So maybe in front of the person you're visiting, you're saying one thing, and then when they leave, maybe you're talking about their living arrangements, or you're talking about somebody on the wall inside in some pictures or something. You're describing how they look, and you're just talking down on them or something, or you're telling each other about the way it smells in the room, or maybe some dirty clothes or something laying around. And this person is back in the back room just listening to everything that you're saying, maybe looking at some of the things that you're doing on live stream. So you have to be very careful when you are in other people's establishments, and be cautious about some of the things that you're saying, because you never know when you're under surveillance. Now, number 2, off the rails. So many people say that the malls are not what they used to be. Not long ago, I went into one of my local malls and it was jumping. People were everywhere. The atmosphere was exciting. And the good thing about malls is that you can go into the mall, you can shop where you want to shop, you can mingle. There's many different amenities and different areas of the mall that you can go to enjoy yourself. But also in some malls, there are different levels. So you can take the escalator upstairs. You may want to go to your local movies, or you want to go to your favorite cookie shop. But when you go to the upper levels, they have these railings that could be encased with glass to reinforce boundary, so that the people who are walking around the upper levels are protected. I know there are a lot of individuals who like to look over the railings to see who's walking but down below. A lot of times it can make for good picture taking, and the mall is just a place where people feel free and can hang out and get to know other people, and sometimes they can put things on social media. But the thing about the upper levels is that, can you really trust these railings? Now, these types of railings are not only found in malls, they can also be found at hotels. So if you had an upper level floor at a hotel room and you want to go out on a balcony, then you can usually go out and you can get a good view of maybe the city from your balcony. And the balcony, sometimes you may want to just lean on the rail. But how much faith can you have in that rail? Because times have changed from long ago. There are a lot of people who are fed up and they have different agendas. But could you just imagine if somebody who had some type of gripe or something against their employer, or maybe they were upset about life in general, and they are the one who is working on the rail, putting the rail together, making sure that everything's nice and sturdy for the patrons. What if this person decided that, you know what, I'm not getting paid enough and I don't need to put the remainder of these screws in, or I don't need to tighten this up? What if somebody said something like that? And most of us, we lean on railings all the time. This could be at a sports stadium where you're trying to get a good view of maybe your football team or something, and you're leaning on railing that's maybe hundreds of feet up in the air, and the railing could give way. In some instances, things like this happen where railings give way, you're leaning on it, or maybe you're trying to take a picture, a selfie or something like that, and you're leaning up against a railing and the railing gives way, or the glass comes loose or something, and you fall from 3 to 4 stories. This happens often. It just doesn't maybe happen in your area or my area, but this happens to someone where there's a faulty railing somewhere. It could be made of glass, it could be supposedly steel, it could be um, iron or something, and it gives way under weight. So there's a lot of different reasons for this. Someone's negligence, it could be done maliciously, it could just be a fault in some other part of the structure that affected the railing. So you never can put your full trust in something because you're thinking that because it's so far up that it's going to automatically be secure. That's not necessarily the case. And number one of the 5 unexpected situations that can cost you: shopping in silence. So at times we hear about people who may rent out a movie theater. Maybe it's a special moment where a guy wants him and his spouse to have a special moment at the movie theater, and no one else needs to be there, so he's going to pay whatever it takes for them to have that special moment alone. There's also situations where a person would want to shop by themselves. So this may be rare, I don't know, but this could be a situation where a person just needs to maybe go to a particular store, maybe it's a toy store or something, so they're willing to pay whatever it takes to have this special moment by themselves, or have a moment with them and maybe a group of kids or something, and they're going to go shopping, and all the other customers maybe have to wait an additional 2 to 3 hours before they can come in. But it's all about maybe this particular person and them getting the things that they need for that particular moment. And it's all about them and just that personal experience. Well, you may have found yourself at one time where you stopped by, let's say your local dollar store or some small convenience store or something, and you got out of your car, you went in the store, and usually someone greets you when you come in, but you found that when you went inside of this store, that no one greeted you. As a matter of fact, you didn't see anyone at the counter. So as you're working your way through the store, you're looking for exactly what you need, and it's been maybe a minute or two, you still realize that there's no attendant, there's nobody in the aisle, there's no other customers, it's only you. So you're walking and you're grabbing a couple of items, and maybe there's about 2 more items that you need to get, and you're 4 minutes in, and you still haven't seen anyone. There's nobody at the counter, there's nobody in the store, there's not even anyone outside the store. So it's just you inside of the store. So you begin to wonder, like, sometimes, when you're in this situation, you start to think, well, is it meant for me to come in and just grab something and leave? You can't help but to think that as a human, you're thinking that maybe you can grab something and maybe leave and nobody will see you or notice you, but then you remember the cameras. So then you continue to go ahead and get the remainder of your items. And then you notice that it's 5 minutes in, you haven't seen anyone. Nobody has made a noise or anything. So you're in the store and then you say hello, but nobody's answering. So then after 6 minutes, you're at the counter and you're waiting to pay for your items. Suddenly, the clerk appears from the back room of the store. Have any of you been in this situation where you went inside of a store to purchase something, a relatively small store, a dollar store or something like that, something of that size, a convenience store, and there was nobody inside of the store but just you? But the thing that you may have never thought about is that the clerk and maybe other people could have been tied up in the back of the store, and this you could have walked in on a robbery or something worse. You ever thought about that? So when you're going into stores, especially at night, and you walk in and it's been a minute or two and you don't see anyone around, you haven't heard anything, there's just nobody monitoring what's going on at all. And if you say hello or anything like that, nobody answers, then you might want to just go ahead and leave the store immediately, because you never know if you'll get that chance again. I thank you for listening to me today. Please understand that the solution is you. With that, have a great day.